I am particularly grateful that Chairman Murray is here because she's at the point of trying to head off a House Republican-caused government shutdown. So the fact that she's here is very significant. Chairman Murray.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate your having this hearing today. You know, since Republicans overturned Roe v. Wade, reproductive rights have really been under attack like never before in our country, and I'm really glad that we are here today to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, and that is the strong connection between reproductive rights and economic security. Because when Republican politicians take away a woman's control over her own body, they are also taking away women's ability to plan their families, their finances, and their futures on their own terms. The connection is more painfully clear than ever in the post-Dobbs America, where your ability to get an abortion depends on where you live and whether you can afford to travel out of state. Can you take the day off? Can you afford transportation? Do you have a place to stay? Do you need childcare? Mrs. Phillips just described all of that happened to her. And there is a deeply cruel irony faced by women who are unable to get abortion because of cost. Women who are forced to stay pregnant by Republican politicians. If someone cannot afford to get the health care she needs, what do they think is going to happen when she's forced to have that child? How will she make ends meet? Republicans' anti-abortion extremism doesn't just mean forcing women to stay pregnant. Ultimately, it often means women forced out of the workforce and into financial hardship with no support to speak of. Here we are, where Republicans want women to stay pregnant, but they don't want to address the child care crisis. They want to force women to stay pregnant, but today, House Republicans want to not fully fund WIC. Republicans want to force women to give birth, but they don't want moms to have paid leave so they can recover from childbirth and spend time with their newborn. So it's pretty clear that Republicans want to force women to stay pregnant, but won't lift a finger to help new parents. I want you to know that Democrats are working hard to help make sure women are able to decide when and how they start a family, and we actually support those programs that families need. That is a pretty big difference to me, Mr. Chairman. Mrs. Phillips, I want to start with you. Thank you again for sharing your story. I know how challenging that is. And I want to make it clear that you are not alone. There are literally hundreds of women out there, probably thousands, who are facing the same choices you do. You're sitting next to a witness who just described a totally different scenario that doesn't even apply to you, and wanting a rule of this land that will keep you from getting the health care you needed. And that story is not alone. Everyone needs to understand that. Can you talk to this committee again about the financial barriers that are out there for women who seek abortions, such as you had to do through no want in your life, but because that's what happened to you, and what that meant to you and your family when you were forced to go out of state all alone?
Yes, and thank you so much for the question and the opportunity to continue to speak on my story. I will start by addressing the committee by saying pregnancy isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. Every pregnancy is different. Every reason to need an abortion is different. What my fellow witness over here explained did not apply to my situation. This was a planned for and wanted pregnancy, and unfortunately for us, it wasn't in the cards for us to bring that baby into this world. And as a low-income family, as you spoke, I was a single mom for the first 3 years of my daughter's life. I took 2 weeks off of work when she was born, unpaid, and had to go back because I didn't have any other option but to work to take care of my child. I actually started the in-home daycare and my home to be home with Miley because we couldn't afford the infant child care, which is about another mortgage payment in the state of Tennessee. Without the platform that I had online and without sharing my story, and thank God it went viral when it did, because without the help of complete strangers, I would not have made it to New York. I don't know if I would be sitting here today talking to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And Dr. Myers, just in the last few seconds I have, women of color, especially Black women, this has really worsened longstanding inequities that they have faced. Can you talk about how abortion bans and restrictions have created new financial burdens for women, especially women of color?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Every single study of which I am aware that isolates and measures the effects of abortion restrictions on people's lives finds that women of color experience greater effects of those restrictions, experience those restrictions as greater barriers than non-Hispanic white women. The reasons are complex. Women of color, particularly Black women, have higher rates of unintended pregnancy. That's driven by lower access to contraception, lower rates of insurance, more likely to live in contraceptive deserts. Also, race and poverty interact in complex ways that create greater financial barriers of traveling, taking time off work, accessing childcare for women of color. And so we often see much greater effects on that population.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.